Hello and welcome to the 2019 season for college football. Really excited. I got to change of scenery. So I'm going to jump right into it. This video is going to be my top 25 preseason listing. I'm going to start reverse order. I'm going to start right off at number 25. I have Michigan State. My preseason predictions for them have them going 9-3. It's a good season for them. I think it's a comeback kind of situation for them. I got them at 9-3. Next, I've got number 24, Washington, also at 9-3. Theirs is kind of up in the air a little bit, but I feel a little confident in their position there to pull in a lower top 25 ranking. Next is number 23, Army. I got them at 10-3. Now, mind you, they're playing 13 regular season games this year. I believe them and Hawaii are playing that many games. So I got Army in at number 23. Next, number 22, a bit of a surprise maybe, Appalachian State at 11-2. I put them there because I think they're going to win 11 games this year. I think that'll be enough to get them into the top 25. Next, I have number 21, Utah, also at 11-2. I feel like they're going to have a good season this year, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get them into the top 15 range this time. Number 20, rounding out the top 20, is Hawaii. I've got Hawaii going 12-2. I think Hawaii's got a good chance of winning their conference this year, but it's gonna be interesting to see where they go. At number 19, Stanford. I had them going 10-3 in my preseason predictions. Stanford's got a good school going. They got a good program going, and I feel confident that they're going to pull out a 10-win season. Next is number 18, Toledo. Sorry if I'm looking off screen, trying to keep on track. Next is number 18 would be Toledo, another 11-2 team. I got Toledo in here because Toledo's got a little bit of a strength of schedule boost to themselves. Not a best, but it's better than most in their situation. Number 17, I have Louisiana Tech, also an 11-2 team. I think Louisiana Tech's going to have a good year, kind of a comeback. They've been kind of down last year, but I think it's going to be good for them. Number 16, I got Texas A&M, who is 9-3. Now that 9-3 is deceptive. I know I got them ahead of a bunch of 11-2 and 10-3 teams, but Texas A&M has to play Alabama, LSU, and I believe Georgia. And I think those are the three teams I think they lose to. So that keeps them out of the SEC run. But that's still a good season when your only three losses are to LSU, Alabama, and Georgia, teams that are constantly in the hunt for the SEC. Honestly, it's not a bad season at that point. Next, number 15, Michigan. I got Michigan going 10-2. I think my preseason predictions for them were just a loss to Notre Dame and a loss to Ohio State. So I feel like that puts them in a good spot to bring in a top 15 situation. Next, I have Nebraska, also at 10-2. Now, with Nebraska, I feel like they're going to bounce back this year. I know they're not getting a lot of love, and especially after last year, going, I think, 3-9. There's not a lot of expectations from this team, and I think that plays in their benefit. A lot of people are going to expect them to maybe go 6-6, and I think they're going to pull some over on teams that may be better than them on paper, but weren't expecting them to come out like they will. Next, number 13, I actually have Miami. Miami, Florida, I've got them a 10-3 team. Now, that being said, there's not a lot of love for Miami right now, and I get it. They just lost their quarterback. There's a lot of unknowns on this team. There's not a lot of leadership. I think they still manage a 10-win team, 10-win season this year. Number 12, I have Syracuse at 10-2. Now, Syracuse is pretty high on this list. They are a 10-2 team, but I will say this. Syracuse has the chance to beat Clemson. I don't think they will, but there is a chance it could happen. So I think that puts Syracuse in a good spot, 10-2. Those two losses I have for them, I think are going to be close losses, which will keep them higher in the rankings. At number 11, I have Utah State at 12-1. Utah State's going to have a great season. I think they're going to follow up last year's season with another great season. They still got a lot of starters returning. It's going to be an interesting step to see where they go with the program. So now we're going to round out the top 10. Now, all you guys know, I haven't really hidden it. I am a Notre Dame fan. I got Notre Dame at 10. I got them going 11-1 on the season. That one loss, I actually have to Georgia in Georgia, which I think keeps them in the top 10 situation. I don't think they're going to repeat last year and go to the playoffs. I would love to see that, but who wouldn't love to see their team make it to the playoffs? Still, realistically, I just think they're going to have a step back this year, which one loss is not that big a step back. I mean, it keeps them out of the playoffs in my book, though. Number 9, I have UCF at 12-1. I think this is the last hurrah for UCF. I think they're going to get another 12-1 season here. It's going to be an impressive season because of the way they win. They're going to have a lot of close dogfights. So I got that. Putting them at number 9 with one loss. I just don't think that they're going to be the undefeated teams they've been in the past. Rounded out at number 8, I've got Florida at 10-2. I think Florida's another one of those. They got to play Georgia, and they got to play a bunch of hard SEC teams. I think I have them losing to Georgia and losing to LSU. I'm not sure they play LSU. I forget who the other loss I have them down for, but I've got Florida at 10-2, putting them at number 8. Number 7 on my list is actually LSU, also at 10-2. I think LSU is going to have a good season, really good season. I think Ed Orgeron's got this team behind him. They love him there, and I feel like he's going to be able to help them take that next step, get them one more step closer to a championship contender this year. Coming in at number 6, I've got Wisconsin at 11-2. Now, I got Wisconsin in a surprise twist here. In my opinion, I think they got the best chance at winning the Big Ten. But I don't think they're going to win out on the regular season. So that puts them at 11-2 in my book, putting them at number 6 and outside the playoffs. Now, we're coming into the top 5 here, and that gives me Ohio State at 12-1. Now, I have Ohio State here because in the 12-1 standings, the 12-1 record that I had there, they went 12. I think Ohio State's going to go 12-0 in the regular season. I don't think they're as good as they have been in the past, but I think that their biggest competition is Michigan, and they've had their number for the last like 4 or 5 years. So I think that Ohio State comes in 12-0, confident, maybe on the verge of cocky into a Big Ten championship matchup against Wisconsin, and I think Wisconsin pulls the rug out from under them, and I think the late loss for Ohio State is what keeps them out. So now we get to what my preseason, I guess you could say, predictions for the playoffs would be. At number 4, I have Georgia at 12-1. Now, 12-1 Georgia is another situation like Ohio State. I have Georgia losing late in the conference championship for the SEC. But who they lose to is the difference between them being at 4 and 5. Number 3, I have a 13-0 Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's going to bounce right back into the mix of things, and I think it's going to be a really interesting season for them with Jalen Hurts as their quarterback now. It's gonna be fun, and I think Pat Riley's got that team in a good position. Number 2 is actually 13-0 Clemson. Now, I know, how can you put the reigning national champion at number 2? Well, my reasoning on this is Clemson may be the reigning national champion, but there's not a lot of competition for them in the ACC. Right now, it is literally Syracuse. That is the biggest competition for them in the ACC. The ACC's gone downhill recently, except for Clemson. So I gotta notch that against them in this case. Which brings me to number 1. Which, come on, if you didn't see this coming, you should know better by now. Number one, I have 13-0 Alabama. I got Alabama going to the SEC championship against Georgia for the second straight year and beating Georgia for the second straight year, which would create an interesting mix-up here because that puts, with the four-team playoff, would put Georgia versus Alabama as a repeat in the playoffs, and Clemson versus Oklahoma, another repeat in the playoffs. So, what my predictions there would be, I think Alabama would beat Georgia again. Mainly because it just seems to be the MO. Georgia takes a huge lead, loses it, and loses the game. That being said, I think Oklahoma has a good chance in that matchup of beating Clemson, and which would create an Alabama-Oklahoma national title, which, given last year, was a heck of a game. Alabama went ahead early, but Oklahoma came storming back in it. I gotta give them credit for that. I still think that would leave an Alabama national championship at the end of the year. So, before I get to the predictions, just a few of the teams that were sitting just outside, the first outs, I guess you could say. I've got Penn State at 9-3, Troy at 10-2, USC at 9-3, Texas at 10-3, Iowa State at 10-2, Memphis at 9-3, Cincinnati at 10-2, and Ohio at 10-3. Those are pretty much the ones that were close to 10 wins or at 10 wins that didn't make it to the top 25 conversation. Any one of those could pop up here in the top 25, could be interesting. That being said, that's my top 25. Now for the predictions. When it comes to the two games tomorrow, the first of the two at 6 o'clock my time, which is Central Time, I believe. I don't remember. It's 6 o'clock my time. But it's 6 o'clock my time, and it is Florida and Miami of Florida. I've got Florida winning this one. I think Miami's going to have a good season, but not that good. I don't think they can open with a win against Florida on the opener of on the season. That being said, the second of the two games is a late night one, which is Arizona at Hawaii. Now, I'm actually picking Hawaii to win this one. I think a couple of things go into factor it. The fact that it's at home in Hawaii helps, but I don't think the jet lag is going to be as big an issue. They are coming from Arizona. It's not as huge of a difference there in time zones, but still. It's the fact that you have to fly out to them to play them, and I think that gives Hawaii a little bit of an advantage. Plus, Hawaii looked good last year, and I think they'll look better this year. So that's it for this video. I won't be doing a recap video since it's just the two games I made the predictions for, but I will be posting another video later next week with my week 1 games that matter predictions, and I'm thinking, if I have time, I'm going to try a new thing this year where I'm going to update my top 25 every week based on the games that have been played and where I think people should fall given what I've put out and what's happening in the league. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. I really enjoy doing this, and I love you guys watching these videos. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you like what I'm doing, and don't forget to leave a comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.